So the way that I found how do we attract a targeted audience of customers rather than just people who like my content is running a giveaway for the exact offer you want to sell. So I like to say that your dream follower is a different person than your dream customer.
Welcome back to Business Talk, the TikTok marketing podcast for business owners and entrepreneurs who want real strategies to generate leads and sales directly from TikTok. I'm your host, Austin Armstrong, and I'll be interviewing real business owners from every industry that are leveraging TikTok to grow their business. You can connect with me on TikTok at SocialtyPro. Let's jump into it. Today's guest is Derek Videll of Social Bamboo. Derek is the founder of socialbamboo.com and host of the Social Bamboo podcast, the #1 Instagram marketing podcast out there. Now, today's episode is going to be a little bit different as we're going to be taking a look at the similarities and differences between TikTok and Instagram, repurposing strategies, where the social media landscape is going, and how you can leverage Instagram to grow your TikTok channel as well. Derek, thank you so much for joining me today, man.
Yeah, I'm very excited to be here. Very excited to be speaking with you on my podcast too. I got so many questions for you and your line of expertise as well.
Yeah, it's an honor, man. I've actually been listening. I was saying before we started here, I've actually been a listener of your podcast for years, leveraging it to grow on Instagram myself as well as some of our clients. So it's a privilege to have you on, man, and it's an even greater privilege to be a guest on your show.
I bet you got some great questions then, since you know a little bit about what I know and what I don't know. So I'm excited to be here for sure.
Yeah. So could you dive into your background a little bit? Pre-podcast, what led you up to getting started with it, and if you could give an overview of the podcast as well.
Yeah. So podcast is called the Social Bamboo Podcast. Now it covers everything social media marketing. Before it was called Instagram Marketing Secrets, even though mostly now I still do talk about Instagram, just so I could open it up to having people like Austin on my podcast. I wanted to just be more of the social media marketing person. So that is one step back from where we're at now. The step before that was I was running an e-commerce brand, and I got that Instagram following up to about 50,000 followers, and through organic posting mostly. And I went to search for an Instagram podcast and I couldn't find one actually. So when I started the podcast, I didn't have any ideas of how I would ever monetize it or anything. I actually started it that day, and I just pulled out my phone and I downloaded Anchor and just started recording basic episodes on how to set up your account, how to do your bio, how to, use Canva, just basic things like that. And because my podcast was called Instagram Marketing Secrets, it got attention really quick. And then I just went from there. So I actually don't usually vouch for the strategy of build an audience with no intention of how you'll ever make money and then figure it out later. But that's how it happened in this case. I at least have an idea of how you plan to monetize this good, even though of course that idea will change, but it makes things a lot more clear of what your content strategy should be. And then before that, I was in direct sales for 7.5 years. And that's where I really learned how to sell stuff. And that's what I feel like online marketers might not have going, is they don't have a lot of sales experience and really business, regardless if you're a, yoga instructor or artist, your main job is sales. So that's, I just, focus on helping businesses who are lacking that part.
Thank you for sharing that background. And, so you have a couple hundred episodes in the podcast at this point, such a wealth of knowledge. How has that journey been for you, up to this point with how, what do you have, 200 episodes?
Yeah, 210 came out this morning.
10? Amazing. So what has that journey been like for you?
It has been a journey of consistency, just a level that I could repeat on a weekly basis, and not really straying from that. So I really think at the end of the day, it is simple looking back of what I've done. Even though I think the answer that you might think to get to this kind of question, it's been rigorous and all that stuff. I think it really, when you look at it from this perspective, it's whoa, look how far I came. But you really are just going one step at a time during it. So for episodes 1 to 150, I was doing one episode a week. And I only missed 1 week during that whole time. It was after episode 100, I decided I'm just going to give myself 1 week off. And at this point, I'm like, I kind of wish I didn't, just so I didn't have to say that part. But then after episode 150, I started doing 2 a week. And I actually really like it this way now. After a couple months of doing 2 a week, I almost went back. And then I kind of more figured out how to do it, and just really doing a lot more interviews and stuff like that too. But now it's it only gets easier over time. And that first step is definitely the hardest one, but I kind of know that. So that's why I didn't let myself have more than 3 hours before coming out with my first episode. I kind of look at like starting business at this point as kind of like standing on a diving board, and the longer you stand there, the more irrational fears are going to sink in. So really, if I had to explain how I started the podcast, I started within a few hours of me thinking about it. And then I came out with 1 episode a week until now and figured it out along the way.
That's incredible. I mean, it's so hard. People overanalyze everything, right? They think they have to have the perfect mic, the perfect lighting setup, the perfect backdrop. They can't record if it's, there's X, Y, and Z factor in there, but you hit the ground running with it. You had this idea and you ran with it, and it turned out to be an amazing podcast, and it's constantly evolved over the years. Has it opened up some amazing opportunities for you?
Yeah, I mean, the podcast is always a great way to invite someone on to have a conversation with that you wouldn't otherwise get to. I think there's a lot of big business owners that I've had on the show that would have cost me a lot of money to pay for an hour of their time. And all my questions are just purely based around what I want to know too, which is plenty of what other people want to know, but it also is like, sometimes they'll be very specific trying to get stuff that I want to know. So at this point, I kind of do like a lot of podcast swaps with people like yourself. And then I also am reaching out to like, who do I want free coaching from? So that is definitely a big benefit. And then just being able to eventually good enough to put it on YouTube and the other platforms, get the camera involved, and grow a personal brand out of the whole process too, I think is what, no matter what I choose to do next, I'll be able to leverage the personal brand that comes from it, having a podcast as well.
Very well said. And you are fairly active on TikTok, right?
As a user, yes, I do have 17K followers. And let me tell you, my target audience loves my TikToks. My target audience is me. Only. So I've gone viral on TikTok twice, and they were not social media related posts. Was kind of almost the issue, because I just was like, I'm just going to do this trend. And I like parodied the trend, where you come in the trend and then you do something slightly different, mess with people's expectations a little bit. And I did that twice. And I think I got like 8 million views on one of them, like 3 million views on the other. Wow. And this was like 2 years ago, where people were just like following every post that they liked. Like the like button and the follow were like one and the same. And I got like 17K followers, but none of them had anything to do with social media marketing. So it kind of screwed my engagement from there. So at this point, I'm actually just starting a new Social Bamboo TikTok where I'll post just social media content and then just keep my TikTok personal. But as far as 9x16 content goes, I'd say I'm good at it. And I absolutely love TikTok. I think it is such a better algorithm than any other platform out there. Their algorithm truly knows what content you want to see. And but I haven't, to be honest, I haven't really found out exactly how to execute content from a business standpoint. So we'll be talking about some other ways that I leverage Instagram and TikTok together here, but it's just, I'm good at doing the trends. Yeah, I have fun with that. And I know most of the dances. That's how I came on the podcast. I know I had to pass all your tests.
Good. And anybody that's curious, I'm going to be a guest on his podcast. So go listen to that one. And we're going to dive into all the TikTok goodies for you.
Is this the part where I need to hit a dance to stay on the podcast?
Yes. In order to continue from this moment forward, we have to do a synchronized dance and lip sync. So...
Any audio, I'm ready.
So we're kind of in like a strange transition in social media, right? And there's kind of like almost a heated battle if you will, kind of going on between, the rise of TikTok so fast and Facebook, Instagram trying to stay relevant. And they're kind of copying some features back and forth, right? Like TikTok just rolled out stories to many people in the United States. I saw on Instagram, I guess a couple months ago at this point, they rolled out direct video comment responses, which is one of TikTok's core features. I'm curious
which no one's doing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, nobody's doing it on Instagram, which I find, really interesting too. I want to get your thoughts on that and where you see this kind of going in this back and forth battle. Do you think this is a good thing? It's a bad thing? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's very interesting to watch. And I've definitely made a lot of videos on YouTube. Like every time Instagram comes out with a new feature, I give my 2 cents on that. Mm-hmm. And that's been really great for growing on YouTube. I'll say, like, if you cover, new updates in your industry is a great way to grow. But this is total Instagram fashion. It's funny because like we think stories as an Instagram thing where it came from Snapchat. And I remember when it first came to Instagram, I was like, this is so stupid. I'm never going to post an Instagram story. And Facebook story, I have not ever gone to that point, right? I saw a meme the other day. I was like, oh, I got so drunk last night. I posted a Facebook story. Like, oh, that's relatable. But so I think TikTok stories, that's the line I didn't think they would ever cross. And if they would cross the line of photos, then I'd be like, what the hell is going on? I really hope they don't allow just straight photos on the feed. That would really screw up everything. I think they know that though. So yeah, the story, every time they acquire a new feature, it shows that their game is trying to win attention from the other platforms more so than get new downloads. So when they're first growing, like Instagram just tries to be niched down as like it's Facebook, but only photos is like how it was explained for years. Like and Twitter is just like it's Facebook, but only the statuses. And everyone's like, why even have it then? Right. And then it makes sense later why you would have multiple platforms. But when they're acquiring all these features, they're really just trying to win attention from each other. And Instagram's greatest competitor for people's attention right now, I would say, is TikTok. And, someone who does love Instagram, I definitely can spend way more time scrolling on TikTok than I can on Reels. So, and like I was saying before, their algorithm's not as good. So I am scared of like Reels. I don't think it needs to become its own thing, is like how it will need to really survive here. Because if it's trickled down TikTok, and just less funny TikTok with a worse algorithm, then it will be hard for that to truly make a dent against TikTok in the way that Instagram really screwed up Snapchat. Like when Instagram took stories, it wasn't instant, and Snapchat does still have a place, but it's more so for like college students. I think a lot of people like after a certain age, like don't really care about having Snapchat anymore because it's just like, well, with the story, like Instagram's got stories and I don't need to post the story that I would be super scared of my mom seeing anymore. So I don't need Snapchat. So when they're acquiring features, it really is just a matter of they're saying that we're in our plateau phase. We're not trying to get as many new users as we are just trying to cater to the people on the app and trying to keep them here as long as possible. And I think it does get kind of annoying in a lot of ways of just knowing exactly where to put all your effort, right? When there's all these different types of posts that you can do everywhere. So I'd say just try not to get too distracted when they're coming out with the new features, but usually they do give an algorithm bump to using new features. So I do try to use them. But like the reply to comments on Instagram thing, I think they should have taken the stitch or duet, or they did take the duet feature first with remixing, which no one does that either. And then like the stitch, I think would have been a little bit easier for people to do on Instagram. So I wish they would have got that. But the reply to comments with Reels, like people just don't comment on Instagram like they do on TikTok. And it's funny because I just, from my fake account, I started leaving comments on my Instagram posts, and I'm thinking of doing like some hater comments, because whenever people like reply to hater comments on TikTok, like everyone wants to join their side, right? Because it's like, oh, screw this guy, right? So like I'm like commenting like hater comments from like another account, and then I'm going to reply to those ones and just see how that works. I don't know if that I wouldn't. I know you could say that's unethical, but at the same time, it's like whatever. It's not. It's funny. So
Totally. And you see like on TikTok, for instance, like there's been so many industry plants for musicians. Like the first one that come to mind is the that song, the ABCDEFU. And that was proven that it was somebody from her marketing agency that she, or like the production team behind this girl, left that comment on a video where the artist was like, I'll turn any comment into a song. Well, that comment was planted, and now that song is everywhere, right? So like everybody's doing that at any given point.
Oh, like they said, like make the alphabet into a popular song.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Damn.
So it was a funny thing. Have you heard that song?
I have. Yeah.
Yeah. So that it came from a comment on her video where she prompted people, and so somebody from the team left that comment, make a song out of ABCDEFG or something like that.
Nice.
And then she did a video.
Oh, I already did.
Yeah. Here's this casual like banger over here. Like, let me just drop this off.
You. Oh, yeah. Just made it up.
Yeah, just on the spot here. Yeah, just like number one hit.
It really was my entire For You page for a month.
Yeah. So diving a little deeper into some of the features that are working on Instagram right now. I think, when Reels first came out, it was a little clunky. It felt rushed to market because they're trying to compete. And, TikTok had been banned in India, and YouTube Shorts rolled out immediately. And then shortly after that, Reels rolled out. And I think they've done a pretty decent job of getting it closer to where it should be. They're always rolling out new stuff. It's more intuitive now. The reach, from my perspective, seems to be good. But I'm mostly, to be honest with you, I'm mostly just repurposing my TikTok videos onto Reels. I download them watermark free so that the TikTok, algorithm doesn't catch it, or, whatever. What are your thoughts on Reels right now as a way to grow organically on Instagram?
It's your best bet for growing organically, for sure. I think every other strategy that I have as far as growth that I can actually like look someone in the eyes and say, like, this is actually going to grow you following, like posting like selfies and stuff and carousels and just all the normal posts are just really hard to go anywhere. Like even hashtags just don't even like kick in really anymore. Like people ask me how many hashtags, and I'm like, the data is inconclusive. It's just kind of like, they don't even matter. Just put enough so like Instagram knows what's going on. But Reels does have good reach. The thing that is difficult about it for getting followers, what I've kind of realized is, just like on TikTok, when you use a trending audio, it makes it go to people who typically like posts with that audio. If you're trying to grow a niche account, this fact that someone has liked a post that used an audio in the past, like, doesn't mean that they're my target client, right? Doesn't mean like, oh, I am a business owner and want to learn social media marketing because I liked Something in the Way by Nirvana from someone else. Like, so it's showing to a lot of people, like you're getting a lot of reach, but a lot of those numbers aren't that quality of people, especially because Instagram, like I said, their algorithm kind of has really shown me how much it sucks. Like with Reels, like if you share that thing not to feed and you just share it straight to Reels and you say like, don't show to my following, just put on Reels and show it to people who would care, it does really bad. It just does a really bad job at showing it to people who care. Because I'll get like 1,200 views and like 3 likes. I'm like, good job finding people who cared about social media, because that just happened. And then because I didn't share it to feed, I wanted to see how it would do, and I got like 3 likes on 1,200 views. I deleted it and then I shared it to my feed, and then it got like 2,500 views, but like the normal amount of likes, like 70 or something. So it was just like, all right, you at least knew who to show it to there. Reels will get you a lot of views. As far as getting followers, like if you get 10,000 views, if that video is like spot on in your niche, really high quality, offers a unique value, that they're not getting from somewhere else, you still might only get like 10 to 20 followers. So that's why it's like, if you play the quantity game with reels is how you can honestly grow. For me, I come up with probably like 2 to 4 reels a week. And honestly, it probably more keeps my following number. Like it just offsets the unfollows almost, right? It just kind of keeps me slowly trickling upwards. Because Instagram, a lot of people are in the unfollow phase. Like before, when I said on TikTok, like the like and the follow, they would like almost do the one and the same. When you're following less than 100 people on a new app, like people are in such a like their bar for who they follow is so low. And now on Instagram, they're kind of like, who can I get off my feed to make this better at this point? So it's just at a different phase. So if I was cranking out like 1 reel a day, it'd probably be better for, that's where I could actually tell someone to expect to actually grow, is 1 reel a day would be the game to play.
And is that your recommended for the minimum to grow, or is there like a great number of, like, if you could commit to 3 a day, 5 a day, is that too many? What do you think that no strings attached quality content is coming out? What's the optimal amount of reels to post?
Yeah, I think when I look on the higher end for like, there's a certain creator that's in our market that posts, like, she repurposes her TikToks onto reels. And then when she repurposes on reels, she posts like all of them at the same time, all in the same day.
Interesting.
And I'm just like, I didn't want to see 10 of your posts today all in a row. And I've like, it made me like unfollow that person. So I think there is like a certain level of too much posting that to annoy your followers. I think like, even though people say like, no, you won't, like, if you're gaining 10 followers per post and losing 2 followers from 2 people that thought, oh, they're posting too much, then yeah, you can make that trade all day, right? So worrying about people unfollowing you is not where you want to place your thoughts at, because it really, like, that's what the equation typically is. Like, you're gaining followers faster than the rate that you're losing them at. So for that reason, you can just like post all the time. I'd say I don't personally like posting more than 3 times a day, because that's just what I would not want to see from anyone else, unless they're just like a meme account, like a pure humor account, like college party page or something, like one of those. Like, if you really like watching one of those, then usually those accounts can't post too much for you. But for like most businesses, especially, like, I'm not going to hit people's like feed with like a bunch of motivational stuff in one day. I don't know. I know Gary Vee would say otherwise, but I'm just like a one-man content thing. So I kind of just like, just putting out slightly higher quality at the rate that I can, which is about 3 a week. But really, I think 1 a day. I wouldn't go above or below that. Is kind of just, you won't annoy anyone at that level, and you're keeping super consistent. And like, one of those posts every week will get over 5,000 views probably, and actually, make something happen.
That's awesome advice. Now I want to kind of pivot into leveraging Instagram to grow your TikTok account. And keep in mind, a lot of this audience is focused on businesses. It's not just a go viral on TikTok type thing. Tactical strategies so that a business can leverage. I'd love to hear your thoughts on some different ways that you see working right now to leverage Instagram to actually send people to TikTok.
Yeah. So the cool thing is, regardless of if you have a following on Instagram or anywhere, you'll still be able to use this model that I really like for cross-pollinating followers onto other platforms. Or you could use this from TikTok to Instagram or whatever. Like, when you do this, actually, the thing I'm about to describe, you just use all of your traffic sources to send to it. And then it's really good at spreading them out from there. So essentially what you do, because you're a business and you don't want a bunch of people following you that don't want to buy your product, like, not just like don't like your content, but don't want to buy your product. Like, when they actually are a potential customer from you, is like the first equation that would first part of the equation that would need to happen for a sale to ever be possible. But they also are more likely to engage even like with your product posts. And a lot of times when you're doing promotional posts, those are way less likely to get likes. But so it's nice to have people who actually, care about what your product is too. So the way that I found how do we attract a targeted audience of customers rather than just people who like my content, is running a giveaway for the exact offer you want to sell. And a lot of people will do giveaways for like Amazon gift cards or iPads or some generic price to get a bunch of people to enter. But just kind of like what happened with my TikTok is when you get all these people who follow you for the wrong reason, like it can ultimately hurt your account. And it's pretty unsalvageable a lot of times too. That's why I'm like having to restart on TikTok. It's gotten to that point. And so when you give away the exact thing that you're looking to sell, the only people who enter at least have some interest in that thing. They at least want it for free. And of those people, there's always some that would buy it too. But it's just one way to like, how can we leverage some kind of prize that we can use to grow our audience as well as attract a targeted audience together? So exactly how it works to grow everything is that first step, it's usually just name and email. And mostly that's because when you run Instagram or Facebook ads, that's all you can ask for. You can't ask for an Instagram follow on the ad or a comment, 3 friends or whatever. And when they do that, they just tag the 3 friends that won't kill them for tagging them in a giveaway anyways, right? So it's not like 3 targeted customers. So you just ask for the email if you're going to actually run ads to it. And then on the next step, it says, you've entered the giveaway. We'll let you know if you won or not in a couple of weeks. In the meantime, if you'd like to increase your chances to win, you can follow us on TikTok. You can follow us subscribe to our YouTube. You can comment on this TikTok video. You can duet this TikTok video. You can create a TikTok using this sound. Anything your business needs, you could just create as an additional entry. And these people who want to win your product, like they're all about it. Like they'll do all these extra steps. Like I found it's usually like 30 to 50% of people do at least one of these additional entries. So you can use, like, if you have a large Instagram following and send it to this, you can leave with your following now everywhere. So I've leveraged this in one business. I ran this giveaway and we had just started our YouTube channel. We had like 3 videos up and we ran the giveaway with one of the options to subscribe to our YouTube. And we got like 1,400 subscribers from the end of that. Wow. So, and those are all people interested in our products too. So, it's actually going to be an engaged audience. It's to leverage from there. But the cool thing too, at the end of the giveaway, we say, here's the person who won. And for everyone who didn't win, thank you so much for playing. As a consolation, you can get 30% off on the thing that you were hoping to win today, but didn't, for the next week. And it just works really well because everyone's attention is like waiting for you to announce the winner. And you keep telling them, this is the day. So they're all checking their email. And usually like 50 to 70% of people open that email, which is like double what a normal open rate would be, if not more. And while you have all that attention, you say who won, and then you're like, and the 5,000 of you who didn't, here's your consolation prize in the form of a discount. So it's a way to get a ton of sales at the end too. So you can take out any part of that equation that you want to, if you want to make it leaner. But even just having the Instagram as a way to, your Instagram following as a way to enter your giveaway, that they can follow you on TikTok, is just a really great way to do it. Cause just saying, go follow me on TikTok, you say it to 1,000 people and like one of them's going to do it.
Yeah. No, that is awesome, man. That is such valuable information, not just from a following perspective, but from an actual business perspective. So that just brilliant strategy there. We talked about or downloading and repurposing your TikTok videos onto Instagram. I'm curious your thoughts on vice versa. If someone is a Reels first creator, what are your thoughts on downloading those videos and repurposing it on TikTok?
Yeah. So I've thought a lot about this and I've messed around with this a lot. So I'm super glad you asked me about this. So people are used to the font on each app as well. So TikTok people are like very likely to stop on TikTok font. And I think even Instagram people will stop on TikTok font. Like they just do their font better. So and like YouTube Shorts, like I would never use their fonts, and you can only do left align.
I will say real quick, just to interrupt you, I love the captions feature on Instagram. I think the font is awesome on there as opposed to TikTok.
I do like the caption. Yeah, that first one is sweet looking. I wish they gave you more design on like how tall or wide it would be. But the captions text does look really cool. So using the font of the platform you're posting on can give it a little bit of a boost. And Instagram is the only one, to my knowledge, that is more particular that they want to see you use some of their features. I don't know how big is TikTok like really big on like, oh, you didn't edit this on the platform.
No,
So,
I haven't
okay.
noticed any problem with
Okay.
that at all.
So Instagram is a little bit more trying to be like, we don't want trickle down TikToks. So they're trying to do things to discourage that. Right. So like, that's why they diminish the watermark. But I've had some posts do very well with the watermark too.
Yeah.
So a lot of these saver apps don't get the audio matched up with the video properly. So you want to make sure you're using the proper one, because if you're doing a lip sync and it looks off, even though it's like, it's not a big deal, there's just something about it that just won't hit the same. So you're not going to get nearly as much engagement. One of the ways to take your reels and put them onto other platforms without the watermark is at the very last step of editing before you post it. If you save it there, it doesn't save it with the watermark. If you do like you post it and then you save to camera roll after, it will put the reels watermark at the bottom. So if you want to do all of your designing in reels and then move it over, you can do that. Or I get it to a phase where it's everything, but like maybe the first slide text, and then I'll save it there. And then on TikTok, then you can just add the TikTok text as that last part. And sometimes it will remove the audio. That's the other thing. If I don't want the audio to carry over, I don't want the music to carry over from Instagram to TikTok. I want to upload the song there. So I would save it. If it's like me talking, then I have a background noise. I would save it without the music. And then I would put the music in on TikTok, because obviously that's very important to use a trending audio. And that goes moving TikToks to Instagram too. I try to find like the version of the audio that's actually trending on the app.
That's great advice. Anything else that you would recommend that we didn't cover today that would be beneficial for a business owner to either grow their TikTok account, grow their Instagram account, or grow their business from either platform?
I would say just be very clear of what each platform's main marketing objective is, so that you know how to set up your expectations properly and you're making content for the right person. So I like to say that your dream follower is a different person than your dream customer. Your dream follower is someone who will eventually become your dream customer, but isn't yet. And TikTok is so great at such a wide reach that if you kind of look at it as your brand awareness platform, where you're not trying to create that content that's like super specific, that like this better find my niche following exactly, otherwise they're not going to care. You're trying to like make more generalized, more relatable things. For instance, maybe like if I posted something on TikTok that was like exact tips on like Instagram Reels, it doesn't do very well. If I was more talking about like video tips, like how to get your videos to go viral. And I'm not talking about Instagram specifically, on TikTok, that's going to do a lot better. So me thinking about anyone interested in growing their business through social media is my target client, not just Instagram or this specific strategy. So having each platform, if you know, like Instagram is really good at making sure all of your following sees this post, which TikTok is not. Right? TikTok is way better at the For You page. Like getting all your followers to see your TikTok is really difficult. So if you have like a message that is really important to communicate with your warm audience, that's why it is very important to have all of these platforms going, because I can post a story on Instagram and do a regular post. And if you follow me, there's a pretty good chance you're going to at least see with one, whether or not you engage with it or not. But I can at least let you know about like a sale or something. If you only had TikTok as your only platform and you're like really trying to get in touch with your followers, I mean, that new story thing will definitely help as a means to do so. But each platform, you want to know what are the advantages and make sure that your content is, designed accordingly.
Derek, such good advice. This was so awesome. So many tactical things that people can take and directly implement for themselves. How can people follow you if they want to learn more about you? How can they get a hold of you? Where would you like to direct everybody?
At @socialbamboo_, because Social Bamboo wasn't available and they won't give it to me on Instagram. And then like I'll link everything else from there. Like that's a good central hub to follow me on is Instagram. And of course I'm on TikTok. You'll see exactly what I mean, that my target audience is myself. And I like all my own posts. And but other than that, the Social Bamboo podcast, and then YouTube, I'm just Derek Videll. YouTube is where most of my focus is going to in the next year. So
awesome. And I'll have all those links in the show notes and description of this podcast episode. Derek, thank you so much again, man. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, Austin, this was great. Talk to you soon, man.